Hey everybody, welcome back. Patty Ann here again. Hey, someone on our Facebook group said, can you help show me how to make a Moana print and cut, a pretty big one, for my great-granddaughter's wall in her bedroom because she is the #1 Moana fan. Well, my granddaughter is and grandson are also, so I'm pretty familiar with Moana. But anyway, hey, join me at my computer and let me show you how easy it is to get this done in Silhouette for any machine. See you there. Okay, as you can see, I am in Google and I've just typed in the word Moana. But in addition to doing that, as I've taught before, after I type that in, I come up here to Images. And then after I click on Images, I want to get the best image I can. So I come over here to Tools and I change it to Type if I want to. And I let this be any type since it's a print and cut. I don't mind the shading and that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, I kind of like it. But what I do like to do is come here, and rather than it saying any size, I just want a large image. The larger, the better, because this is going to be a print and cut. If I don't get a large image, you'll find that sometimes your images that you print are blurry or pixelated where you can see little squares and stuff. So you want to get the largest image you can when you're doing a print and cut. So I really like this image of Moana, and I especially liked it because if you'll notice, there's a white background behind it that makes it a lot easier for me. If you look over here to Maui, do you notice that? He has the checkerboard background behind him, which shows us that he is, that background is transparent, and it makes it a little bit more difficult for us to work with. So let me go back to the one I had. Let's see if I can just hit my back arrow and get back to her. Yeah, there she is. Okay, so she's super cute. All I do is right click on her and say copy image. Then the next thing I do is just open up my software, Silhouette software. Again, this software is just like using something like Illustrator or Inkscape. It's just called Silhouette software because it's made for the Cameo machine, but it also is a software that works for any machine. I have links for it down below if you want to check it out. Check out the free version first, and if you love it, come back, use my link again. I appreciate it because, hey, those of you who've been using my links, I so appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting me in that way. But anyway, so here we have Moana. This is the one that I've already finished, so I'll move her off the mat for now. Let's bring her over. So the first thing that we need to do, like we always do, is to trace this. And it will be pretty easy to trace this since it does have the white background. Now, let's see. I'll go over here to the trace tool that looks like a butterfly or a piece of toast, and I'll click on Select the Trace Area. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace this like this. Okay, the trace didn't come in very well. As you can see, I'm missing a whole lot of it. So I'm going to up the threshold here till I pretty much get all of the outline of it traced, which looks pretty good right now. Maybe a little bit too much because it looks really jaggedy on the edges. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that and see, maybe go down one more. See what we get. So now what I'm going to do, instead of what we usually do, which is trace, I'm going to say trace and detach. So what that's going to do is it's going to detach the colored image from the white box. You see that? Now notice I am losing some of the stuff right here, but I think that will be okay once we add the offset that we're going to add. So I'm going to click on that and delete it. All right, so you can see where this crazy spot is right here. But let's see when we go and add the offset. So I'm going to click on her again, and I'm going to say offset with the star, with the offset on it. External offset or a regular offset, and that looks like that's going to cover it. Look at this. So I'm just going to go ahead and change its color to white so you can see it more easily. And look at that. That looks fantastic. The only thing is I might be concerned about is all these little bumps here along her hair. So I don't think that my machine needs to cut that like that. Like, let me scroll in a little bit more so you can see. Okay, see all these little bumps? Pardon me. I don't think that will be necessary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this. which brings up the nodes or the points. And then I'm going to click on the word simplify. So I'd like you to look over here, and you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nodes right here, right? And when I simplify that, watch what happens to the bumps and the number of nodes. Did you see that? So the number of bumps is going away. Look at that. See, it's getting very smoothed out. And that's really all we need for our offset. So I can bring, and I might even do some more because look at all these nodes. Let me simplify it a little bit more. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll just click off and bring her back over here. And then I'm going to grab both of these things and just come up here and say center. Then while they're both still selected, I'm going to group them. Now let's suppose I want to make her 20 inches tall. All right, so I can go ahead and lock the lock and make the height of her 20 inches. Now obviously that's not going to fit on my mat, and it's certainly not going to fit on a print then cut. Okay, so let me tell you this. If you are a Cricut user, right now what I would suggest you do is, you see this red outline right here? I suggest you change that to a light gray. So that's the line color. So we're going to change the line color to maybe the 3rd or 4th gray in like that. And that's going to help when we go over to Cricut Design Space. But what we need to do now is to cut her up so she's going to fit as a print then cut. If I'm doing it for my Cameo, all I have to do is come up here to the page setup panel and make my media size a letter size, because that's what size my cardstock is. And then I'm also going to put on the registration marks by coming to the 3rd tab over. Turn them on. All right. Now what I need to do, I can tell right now, is I need to get rid of a few little pieces that were left here. See these white pieces? There were some pieces that were left in the original part, and I don't want those pieces to cut. I don't need those. Just delete them. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to do is, notice that my media is really a dark blue. I'm going to change that to a different color so you can see it more easily. So I just come here to the 2nd button over, that's the grid, and I'm just going to change its color here. Maybe something like that. That'll be good. So now I can more easily see the marks here. The other thing I want to do if I'm using my Cameo is to come back to this first button on the page setup panel. Click on that, and I'm going to put on my show cut border. So I know I better not put Moana outside of that border, because if I do, it's not going to cut properly. So to me, let's scroll out a little bit more. I think that if I twirl her around like this, that I can fit, let's see, no, I really can't. Unless I'm able to move her a little bit more. Let's see. No, I really can't. So what I'm looking for is what will fit. Where do I need to cut this so it will fit? And I'd say I probably need to cut it right along here and out there. Okay. So watch. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come and get the knife tool. Right over here on the left. I'll leave it on solid. I changed it to poly. It was on straight. I'm going to change it to poly. And I'm going to uncheck auto apply in case I make a mistake. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start outside of her figure here, her body, and just come in here. Let's see, do I really want to do it like this? I don't think I'm going to do it like that. Control Z to get rid of that. I think I'll start up here with the knife. So I'll get the knife again. Auto applies off. It's still poly. I'm going to start up here and just follow along her arm here. Because I'm hoping what this is going to do, it's going to hide where the cut is. So if you're used to using Cricut, you know that when you do this, you're unable to draw lines like this. You can only draw boxes or circles. So I drew that, and let's see what happens when I say apply. Now before I move that, I'm going to have to grab both her head and the backing, the white border, the offset, and group those back together. Okay, like that. And then I got to group this back together as well. All right, so let's see. Will that be fitting? Yeah, that would fit perfectly. That would be a print then cut right there. The next thing I could do for a print then cut is, let me see if I twirl her around again, what we can get. Unfortunately, I can't get her this way because her arms are too wide. So let's see. Well, I'm not really sure, and this is just a matter of personal preference and just trying different things. But what I could do for now is just go ahead and take a cut right here along her belt. Okay. So once again, I'm going to come over here to the knife tool. Make sure it's on poly, make sure that auto apply is off, and then I have to make sure that I start outside of the thing I'm cutting. I can't start in the middle of this, as if this were a loaf of bread. You can't, or a slice of bread. You can't start in the center of the slice of bread and not cut all the way through and think you'll have two pieces. So I have to start at the edge of the slice of bread or the edge of my image. Right here, click. Every time I click, I'm putting down a node. Clicking, and then when I get out here I double click. Nothing has happened yet until I say apply. And again, I need to go ahead and group these two things, and if I forget I can just hit undo and then group them. That, and then I'll group this. Okay, so far we have two pieces. Let's see, I think what I'll do now is I'll just do all along her skirt and then her feet. Or should I? Let me think. I think I'll go along this part of her outfit. So again, this is something different that we can't do in our Cricut machines. Again, I'll have on solid, poly, auto apply is unchecked. I'm going to start outside of the image. Just come here and start clicking. Just following along. So what that's going to allow me to do is pretty much hide this area. Especially if I was doing a Disney princess or something, I could hide it with stickles or glitter. I think I'll just go straight out there and click. All right, so now what I have to do is say apply, grab both of these and group them, bring them over, and then I'm hoping when I group both of these things that they'll fit. I hope. Oh no. I'll be bummed if they don't, because that's why I cut it there. Ah, shucks. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. I want to show you a little trick to this. So, what we have is showing right now is the cut border. So in other words, if anything is outside of this border, it's not going to cut. See this red border? That is the cut border. However, if I put on the print border, you're going to see what's going to print. So this is a little secret of what you can do if you want. You can print this, and it's all going to print. When you send it to your Cameo, what's going to happen is it's going to be, let's say it starts here. It's going to cut like this, cut perfectly all along this. When it gets right here, it's going to stop, and it's going to jump over to here and start cutting again. But that's not a problem for us because this part will still be printed. It just won't be cut. So you can cut it with your scissors. Okay? So I'm going to leave that like that. However, I see something really weird on this one that I wish I hadn't done. Let's see. This little junk right here. What the heck? Oh, I don't know why that's there, really. I'm going to oh, I see there's something weird about this. Let me go back. Undo. Let's go back and see what I messed up right there. something I messed up. Let's see. I'm going to undo all of this. I don't know if you saw what I saw, but I saw something that I didn't care for. So, oh, it's right here. So what I think I'll do instead is this. I'm just going to start with my knife here. Again, I'll make sure that all of the same things are up here. Solid, poly, auto apply is off. I'm just going to start here and just go across. All right, and now I'm going to apply it. Now I'm going to grab these two things and say group. Okay, that's much better. And grab these two things and say group. Okay, so again, we have that problem with this thing that it's not all going to fit, but that's okay because we know what's going to happen when it cuts, unless I twirl it some more and I'm able to figure out a way. Sometimes if you keep twirling the thing, you get it to work, but I don't think on this one I will. So that's it. That's all you have to do. In some of my previous videos, I show you how to add a tab onto these to make it a tiny bit easier when you're putting them together. But I'm not going to do that in this video because this one is simply to show you how to get a Moana, how to resize her, how to add an offset, and then how to cut it so that it'll fit on your various mats. Now, here's the thing. If you are using Cricut Design Space, and let's paste a Moana. Whoops, I can't do it. That was something else. If we had Moana in here, what I would do is I would come over here to the media size and I would make it custom. And I would make the custom media size 6.75 because that's how wide we can be on our Cricut print then cut, and the height of 9.25. Okay. So here it is. This is the size we have available. So notice now she's not going to fit on there. So what you will need to have done for Cricut is to make more cuts to make sure that she's going to fit on your mat, on your cutting area, right? So like this will not fit. So you would have to start again at the beginning if you're going to print and cut this on your Cricut. You'll need to start at the beginning when you first bring in Moana. Don't think I have her here anymore. Nope. Let's see, I could grab her real quick. So when you first bring her in, when you say copy, and you bring her in, let's make this a lot bigger now. Okay, and I paste her. I'm going to have to make sure that she's going to fit in here, the pieces that I cut. So again, just to refresh your memory, what we did was we came over here to the trace panel, the toast, select the trace area like that. I upped the trace until it pretty much had all the outline done. And I said trace and detach. After that, I could just get rid of this box. I don't need it. And now I want to add an offset to her. So I'm going to come over to the little tool that looks like a star with an offset on it and click on offset. And I can make that offset any size I want and then come up here and color it any size I like. And I always like mine white. As I mentioned for Cricut Design Space, you don't need to worry about this for your Cameo, but for Design Space, you want to change this red outline right up here to a gray, a medium gray. Maybe the third or fourth one over, okay? Like that. All right. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make her the size you want her to be. Did I group her? Nope, not yet. Control Z. I need to group her first. And then say I want to make her still like about, what? Let's just say 12 inches. 12 inches. There she is, a little bit over. Okay, so now I'm going to have to start figuring out, well, what can I fit on my Cricut mat? So I can scroll this around like this and see how can I cut her. Well, if I was doing her only at 12 inches instead of 15 or 20, I could actually cut this right up here along this waistband, I think. So again, I would go to the knife tool, make sure that outline, poly, and auto apply is unselected, and start right above her little belt here. I could cut this all the way through it and then hit apply. Before I move anything, I would group this one and group this one. So I'd move that off. Okay, there's the first piece that we'd need. Then I could bring the second part over, and let's see, maybe she'll fit since I only made her 12 inches tall. All right, for Cricut now, we'll only need to do 2 cuts of her since I made her only 12 inches tall. So let me go ahead and take her over, and let's see what we get. So I'm going to put her like this. I'm going to select just these 2 pieces. I don't want all this junk to go over to Cricut Design Space. It'd be too big. So let me grab this one right here. And I will go File, Save Selections, Save to hard drive, Moana for Cricut. Whoopsie. And I'm going to save her as a JPEG. I don't save them as PNGs, I save them as JPEGs on my desktop. Leave all of this like it is. Then I'll open Cricut Design Space. A new project. I'm going to upload an image, browse, on my desktop. Should be Moana for Cricut. There she is, Moana for Cricut. Open. Look how nicely she comes in. I'll say complex, continue. And this is what I've been teaching you for the last week or so, what we have to do to be able to save her as a print then cut with the nice offset. I'm going to try it just like this at the regular settings and see what happens. Look what happened. That got rid of my whole offset, the beautiful offset I made for her. Okay, that's not what I want, so I want to go back. So I'm going to complex, continue. This time I'm going to come over here to the advanced options. I'm going to change the color tolerance to an 8 and just click here and see what happens. We still have the nice offset that we wanted. Perfect. So I'm clicking all the areas where I don't want that part to be. And that is how it would continue. Here it is. Look at the nice cut we have. Oh, I do see some little tiny pieces here that we don't want, that I should have gotten rid of earlier. But let's go back and look at those. So let's see. We have this. Aha, I see them now. There's some little pieces. Do you see these pieces when I go like this that I grab? So all you need to do before you save your stuff is go like this with your mouse, holding down your mouse button, just grabbing like this, and you see those little pieces that are all getting selected? Delete those because your machine thinks it has to cut them. Just hit delete on your keyboard. And now let's bring her back over here and check this out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both pieces, go to File, Save Selection, save it to the hard drive, and I'm going to name it Moana for Cricut 2. And you'll see the difference now. Okay, so let's open up Cricut now. On this one, look, you can see, I hope, these little tiny pieces here. Can you see those? Little tiny pieces. Okay, now let's check it out again. Let's try another one. Let's cancel this one. Let's upload an image, browse. Let's look on our desktop for Moana 2 for Cricut. Okay, so Moana 2, Moana for Cricut, Moana, oh, look at here now. This is a trick, you guys. See this? Moana for Cricut 2. The problem is I didn't save it as a JPEG. I saved it as a silhouette file. And if I try to open this, it's going to say, you have selected an unsupported file type. So I guess it's good that I'm going through these mistakes, because then if you have the same thing, you'll know why. So what I need to do is I need to grab both of these again. Go to File, Save Selection, save it to the hard drive. Moana for Cricut 2. But I don't want to save it as a silhouette file. I need to save it as a JPEG so I can use it in my Cricut. Leave these as they are and say Save. And now let's come over. So the point is, what we're trying to see now is that we're no longer going to have those little teeny tiny cuts that we had before. So here's the one I want. I know that because if I hover over it, it says JPEG. This is the one I don't want. If I hover over it, it says Silhouette Studio Document. So I want this one. Let's open it. Let's go Complex, Continue. And we know from previous work that advanced options, we need to change the color tolerance to 8. Click. And I'm going to get rid of all these little tiny pieces in here. Okay, so I'm just going around finding them all. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to continue. We do have a problem with these two touching maybe, so let's save. Let's grab these and insert. Okay, so let's see. The only issue that I have now is that these are going to be a beautiful print and cut, except they need to be separated a little bit more, because if I go to make it now, notice there's this little yield or little icky sign up here. It says the image is too large, need to reduce the size. And ordinarily what I would do is come to the shape tool, grab a shape and do this, unlock it and just do this. But since these two pieces are too close together, watch what happens. I'm going to slice, which is fine, but I don't get the really nice offset of her. Part of it went with that, and I can show you that more clearly if you come here to the blank canvas and come up here to the top then and change the color. Now you can see, look where I had to slice it. Okay, so one more error that I made that I can teach you about is this. Let's come back over to Silhouette. Now, look, this was the problem. They're both touching right here. Let's move them apart. And let's move them pretty good apart so I can draw a box around them when I need to over there. Right? So I can draw a box. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab both of these, go File, Save Selection to hard drive. I'll call it Moana for Cricut 3. And I'm going to remember to save it as a JPEG, because we learned that in the last lesson. Say OK, say Save. Now open up Cricut Design Space. I think the third time's going to be our charm, y'all. Upload an image, browse to my desktop. And let's see, Moana for Cricut 3, and it should be a JPEG, which it is. Open. There it is, beautiful, complex. Continue, and as we learned, since we put that light gray or medium gray outline around this, our machine will be able to get rid of everything except for our really nice offset. But we learned we need to click Advanced Options and change this to an 8. Because I found that worked. Click there, and there. And that looks like all I have to do. Continue. Look how beautiful. Save. Here it is. See how this one was on top of each other? This one's perfect. Insert. Okay, the problem is we can't print and cut this because it's too big. Look at the size. It's 10 inches wide by something tall. We can't do anything 10 inches wide. So we have to go ahead and get a shape, get the square, unlock the lock, and we need to slice these two things apart so they're two separate things. Once I have two and only two things selected, that's when I can slice. I'll get rid of this, delete, get rid of this, delete. And now this is perfect. This will work just like this if I say make it. Okay, just like that, that's going to work. And if I wanted to, what I could do is go ahead and rotate this one and put it on top just so I can get an idea Oh, let's see. I think I have to scroll out a little bit so I can do that. Just to get an idea of how big she is. I don't know if I can grab both of these. Yeah, it would tell me. So she's about 12 inches tall, which is exactly what we wanted. So I hope this helps, Phyllis. This one here that I've done is only about 11 inches tall, almost 10 inches tall. She's the one I had done first for my sample. The one I showed you how to do just now was much larger than this. But remember, you can make it any size you want to. Just follow the same guidelines, so where to cut it. But the beauty, again, of using this software is that I was able to make cuts like this, and you can't even tell where they were. There are two pieces taped together right here, and you can't even tell. And the beauty, again, is that you don't have to just use the little square tool to make a slice. You actually can take the knife tool and just put it dot by dot exactly where you want it to cut apart. So, hey, if y'all like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell. Remember to look at my links down below if you're in the market to buy something. And those of you who have been using my links, boy, I sure do appreciate it. It helps to keep me going, helps to make me allow me to be able to buy the tools and the things I need so I can make these samples for you. Also, check out our Patreon classes and join our Facebook groups. See you again soon. Hey, if you have a question and you are in the Facebook groups, please list it there and I'll try to make a video for you. Thanks. Bye, y'all.